5%. Let's go ahead and let's change gears here a little bit. This kind of is something that started to you've started to hear a little bit really yesterday. I mentioned it, but some other folks were mentioning it as well. And the question is really, should Trey Lance start getting reps with the first group? And just to kind of preface this for anybody who's wondering why this question's asked, it's really about the lack of protection on the second team offensive line. And what's happening there is it's not allowing Lance to really play quarterback from the pocket and develop there. It's nice that he has to run around, but he's not able to really sit there and deliver the ball and read through the progressions like you'd want to see him be able to do, like he'd probably be doing with the first team offensive line. So, Jesse, what do you think on this? Should Lance get some reps with the ones?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if Shanahan's plan is what he says it is, in saying that Lance will get some reps with the first team come actual game day, it'll be situational football and he'll use both of them to their strengths and whatnot. Even if that's how he decides to play it, which I don't think that's how that's going to go, but let's say he is going to do that, at some point you would think that you've got to get him used to playing with the ones. I mean, if you're going to play to his strengths and put him in on certain series, well, that tells me that you're going to be running read option. If you're going to be running read option, shouldn't he be figuring that stuff out with the Sermons and the Mosterts and not the Gallmans and whoever? So that, I would say, is very important. He is getting some burn with some of the ones weapons because they will rotate in and out. So that's good. But yes, I think, the cadence with the offensive line, I think figuring out that read option, which seems to be a little bit of an issue. They're still trying to figure that out. Great. Well, let's say he does figure it out with Gallman. Well, then what about Mostert and Sermon? So yes, absolutely. He should be getting, no matter what the circumstance is, whether he's your week one starter or he's going to come in certain situations, absolutely. He should be getting some burn with the ones.
Yeah, and I agree. And like as you mentioned, he has been taking reps all along with the skill position guys that are ones. He's been taking reps with Kittle and Samuel. Obviously Samuel, since he had the big throw to him yesterday, Brandon Ayuk and all those guys. He's been having those reps. And this conversation is about him getting reps really with the first team offensive line. And the mention, when you mentioned this, at least when I mentioned it yesterday, I was getting hammered with people saying saying that, why do you want him to start right now, and so on and so forth. And I finally had to respond and say, I'm not trying to say that he should be starting right now, even though I feel like that's the direction this thing is headed. It's more of you need to put him behind the first team offensive line so that he can continue his development as a quarterback. He's shown that he can beat the second team defense with the offensive line that's in front of him, which is really bad, and he's having to use his legs and do those types of things. So let's get him behind an offensive line that's going to block for him, and let's let him start to continue to build. And I think you mentioned this a second ago, but if you didn't, I'll say it again. The whole deal here is I don't think that we're going to see that until after the media is gone, which is going to be after the Chargers game, I believe, because the media will be down there for the open practices against the Chargers, so they're going to see those. It's going to be probably before week 3, or it's going to be after week 3 during that bye week, because they do have 2 weeks between that last preseason game and the start of the regular season. So that's when I would expect that this probably will take place.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about the San Diego practices, and Grant mentioned this yesterday, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Are you actually going to be there next week?
No, I can't get down to San Diego, unfortunately.
I'm curious because he said he's really excited to see Herbert in person, and then compare that to what he sees from Lance, because obviously everybody thinks that Lance is the truth, but seeing him against an elite player like Herbert, that will really tell you how good this kid can be, because right now you're seeing him against the Rosens and Sudfields and Jimmy and whatnot. So seeing him against a big, physical, strong arm quarterback will be interesting to kind of compare and contrast in person.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see, just to be able to, like you said, to see that, because they are similar. So for me, that's not a comparison, though, when it comes to the 49ers and really what we're getting after, you know? So to me, I wouldn't take a whole lot. That wouldn't mean a whole lot to me. For me, I want to see him running the 49ers offense and compare it to Garoppolo because that's the battle and that's the future of the 49ers. But I understand what you're saying. You want to see him against the guy who I think most people, I don't think, was one of the best rookies in the NFL last year and is going to be one of the better quarterbacks going forward. So.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just physically, right? Everybody talks about how the ball jumps off Lance's hand. Well, how much does it jump off his hand, right?
Yeah.
And you can see that because it certainly jumps off Herbert's hand. We know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it does, and it's funny with Trey Lance. I saw this yesterday, and you're talking about the ball coming to his hands and what have you. And I tweeted out the throw to Samuel, and I started getting responses about how wobbly Trey Lance's football is when he throws it sometimes because it's not always a perfect spiral. And I just gotta sometimes when I see this stuff from 49ers fans is, have you not watched Jimmy Garoppolo for the last 4 years? Have you not watched the 49ers quarterbacks period for the last 4 years? I mean, I don't care if the guy throws when the guy throws the ball, it looks like a duck. They got shot in the behind. As long as it gets to the guy, I don't care if that thing's end over end like a kickoff. Just get it there.
By the way, not every quarterback throws a beautiful ball. I mean, Peyton Manning threw wobblers for his whole career. Like, it didn't stop him from being a good quarterback. You know what I mean? So it's like Warren Moon probably had the prettiest ball of all time. And he's a great quarterback, but I don't think many people are clamoring for him to be in their top 7 or even top 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally hear you.